Chicago Blackhawks keep making deals and making picks. They add Sam Rinzel after yet another trade. Jack Bushman of Locked On Blackhawks joining me, Gil Martin and Brandon Pillar here as we continue our coverage of the 2022 NHL Draft. Jack, your thoughts on the trade and then on the pick?
I honestly thought it was a pretty good trade all in all. I mean, look, by trading away Alex DeBrincat, it's pretty clear the Blackhawks are in no rush. They don't really care who's going to be their starting goaltender next season. It's not going to matter. They needed somebody to do the job, and Peter Mrazek seemed always like a pretty likely candidate given the Blackhawks situation and where Toronto's at, needing to shed his contract. And by taking on that contract over the next 2 years, again, someone needs to do the job for the Blackhawks until a couple of their goalie prospects are ready to step on the scene. But Mrazek gives them just that, and by taking on that deal, they get their third first-round pick here in the 2022 NHL Draft. After starting the day with 0, they end up with 3. But Sam Rinzel was actually someone I covered just a few days ago because in Corey Pronman's one of his mock drafts, he had the Blackhawks taking Rinzel with the 38th overall pick, actually. So maybe it's a little bit of a reach here, but Blackhawks general manager Kyle Davidson did say they didn't feel he'd be there at 38, and he was their guy. So, I mean, it was kind of a free opportunity to go back in the first round and get him before he was taken. But Rinzel's a little bit of a project, man. Just came out of high school. Was kind of a late bloomer in that sense, got a little bit of USHL action with the Waterloo Blackhawks this year. But again, kind of a mold that we've seen the Blackhawks go with, not only tonight, but with their picks that they took with defensemen in last year's draft too. A lot of big bodies. Tonight's been all about skating too. Rinzel's not as good of a skater as Kurchinski is, but for being 6'4", he can move pretty well, add some offensive game to it. But I think it's a good scenario for the Blackhawks to take him because they can be so patient with Rinzel. Again, we don't really know what he's going to be, I feel like, until we see him against some better competition and whatnot, but he does have a good offensive game and certainly has that size. So I think it was kind of just a free third first-round pick here for the Blackhawks. They also get their goaltender. Cap situation doesn't matter, so it felt like a win to me, honestly.
Brandon, what does Sam Rinzel add? I mean, he's early on in his development, but where do you project him to be?
Yeah, he's actually one of the youngest players in the draft, and he's already 6'4". So when you have a right-hand shot defenseman that has size and a lot of runway left on their development path, I think this makes a lot of sense for the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, he's one of those guys that you get excited about all the raw tools, the size. You forget about him for a while. He's committed to the University of Minnesota, but he's not going to start there till 2023. He's going to play in the USHL. So the Blackhawks can just kind of put him away, let him develop, let him grow into that body, and then 3-4 years down the road, you're sitting there with a right-hand shot defenseman that's got size and good development, playing at a good program in University of Minnesota, and I think this could make a lot of sense. And Tony Ferrari of Hockey News, he said that Rinzel could solidify himself as one of the best players in the U.S. Group in this class. Like, he really has a lot of runway to go. So there's no reason why Blackhawk fans shouldn't be excited about this pick.
And Jack, now 3 first-round picks. You thought there would be none coming into the day. How happy are you with the overall work that your team has done during this 24-hour period?
It's been an interesting day, to say the least. If you asked me around 3 o'clock, my whole world was melting around me once the Alex DeBrincat news came out. But I did like the Kirby Dach trade, even as someone who's been high on Dach and wanted him to do well in Chicago. I think they got really good value in Frank Nazar with the 13th overall pick. I really like the way that he plays. Good motor, good speed, good offensive skill set. Like, if all goes well, he should be someone that could play in the top 6 and provide more offensively than Kirby Dach does, or could later on down the road. So I like that trade a lot. And then Sam Rinzel, as I mentioned, was kind of just felt like a free first-round pick there that the Blackhawks were able to take advantage of because of their cap space. So all in all, man, it's definitely a change of the tides in the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, full-on patient approach is coming. But oddly, I was actually thinking about this before I jumped on the recording. I'm oddly excited about today. And we traded away Alex DeBrincat seemingly for not enough, and I still came away a little excited. So that maybe is telling of the final 2 moves that Kyle Davidson was able to make. But all in all, as these days go, you want to be you want to make a snap reaction and you want to, judge the trade like on day one, but we're going to have to wait and see at the end of the day. So I definitely think the Blackhawks got younger and faster, and they're able to kind of give themselves more flexibility, but we're going to have to see what happens with those players and also what Alex DeBrincat does with Ottawa. But all in all, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see, but I'm hopeful. That's the word that I will use. I'm hopeful. More so than I was at 3 p.m., that's for sure.
Well, hey, hopeful is a good thing for Blackhawks fans. For more, follow Jack Bushman and Locked On Blackhawks. Jack, thanks so much for stopping by.
Oh, absolutely. It was a blast all day long. Glad I got to chat with you boys 3 times.